Outgoing Salaries Remuneration Commission Chairperson Sarah Serem says the government wage bill rose to Kenya shillings 627 billion in the financial year 2016-2017. Well, she says that the same is expected to rise to 650 billion shillings by the end of the year 2017-2018, which is, of course, the financial year. She was speaking this morning during the luncheon to bid the commissioners by. After 6 years in office, Deputy President William Ruto was the chief guest during this event.
SRC was established. We had a continuous stream of institutions coming in, wanting to know our precise role in their affairs. Our goal was to have them on board entirely by demonstrating to them that the system we were going to adapt was fair and extremely objective. It's understandable that the whole approach of remuneration management system was a change process that was bound to face some resistance, and resistance, we faced it. This situation is still a challenge, I must confess, that requires persistence, it requires support, it requires a focused approach. In order to equip ourselves with the requisite information, we visited several countries. The first one being South Africa, which has a well-developed remuneration and benefit system. Others, but not limited to these, were Malaysia, USA, Canada, India, Ghana, Finland, among the many others that we sourced for information. These countries have an advanced human resource management policy framework, which was instrumental in helping us develop our job evaluation plan and the strategies that we adopted.
All right, so we now want to bring in my colleague Caroline B, who's going to be bringing us the details of what has happened in the last couple of moments, in the last few moments. Caroline, good afternoon. So what has this SRC said, has been their biggest achievement so far in the 6 years that they have been not in office, considering that we've had quite a number of strikes, either by the doctors, by the nurses, by the teachers. They've had quite a number of issues to deal with so far.
Well, good afternoon to you, Betty. What you've just said is some of the challenges that the Commission has actually undergone, and they say that it was a big battle for them. They had so many court cases they had to battle with for the past 6 years. Once they solve one of a problem, another one comes in. You find that state officials decide to go to court. So that was actually a very big headache for them. But what they can say has been their biggest achievement was the fact that they've been able to equalize or try to equalize the salaries of state officials. As you can remember, earlier this year or mid this year, the salaries of MPs and other state officials was actually reduced, which made the MPs to go up in arms, lamenting that no, they still need more and that they cannot be reduced to beggars. So that is one of the biggest achievements that they say they've been able to work with 6 years since they've been in office. But it's still not. They actually said that part of what they've done is that they have not reached where they wanted it to be. But since it was the first commission to be in office to try and bring sanity into that sector, they've tried their best to come up with policy frameworks. But they believe that the next commissioners who are going to come into office are also going to streamline this and make it much better for the commission. And they say they also had this big headache from MPs who felt that they had the voice to do everything because they were not used to having a regulatory body trying to regulate the salaries they earn. So, of course, that was a major challenge for them. But Deputy President, who was a chief guest in this event, said that, state officers have to act with all professionalism, and they're going to ensure that everyone actually earns according to their sweat. No officer at any point or at any place is going to earn more than what they deserve, and they're going to invest in 85 billion shillings in the next financial year so that they can equalize this wage bill across the country. Another thing is that they're looking forward to coming up with a bill in Parliament so as to tackle this issue, which has been quite a problem problem. As you've earlier on said, there has been so many strikes from doctors, from nurses, clinical officers, each going to the SRC offices in Upper Hill saying that they want a salary increment. So it has actually been a problem to SRC, and they believe that the next commissioners who are going to come into office are going to come up with more frameworks and other ways and measures so as to tackle this crisis. Back to you, Betty.
All right, Caroline B there reporting from Upper Hill. She was following up on that SRC luncheon that really brings to a close the 6 years that the commissioners have been in office. Let's just listen into what the Deputy President, who was the chief guest, had to say.
The day SRC was established, we had a continuous stream of institutions coming in.
All right, so we'll be bringing you the remarks of the Deputy President shortly here on News Desk. But let's continue.